guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit about this Uranian person that really interests me. I have Uranus in the first house, so I can kind of identify with Uranian characters, and I really like people like this. Even though I'm not this level, I'm not next level, you know, but I still appreciate people that are like this. And don't come for me if he has some like lunatic view that you don't share. I don't really know a lot about his views. I just know of him, and today I watched a podcast that had him on, and I was like, I need to see this guy's chart. He sounds like he's a Uranus person, and of course he is. So I'm talking about Alex Jones. He's a really famous conspiracy theorist, and he comes up with conspiracy theories about pretty much everything. So let's look at his chart and let's look at why he's like that. So if you, right off the bat, we don't have his birth time. So we're just gonna be looking at his planets in the signs and really look at how the dignity or debility of the planets are playing out for him. So he has Sun in Aquarius, and the Sun is debilitated in Aquarius because the Sun belongs in Leo. So that means that the Sun is not very comfortable in Aquarius right off the bat. But his Sun is in the sign of Jupiter. His Sun is in the sign of Jupiter. His Sun is conjunct Jupiter. What does that mean? That means that he's getting a boost from Jupiter because Jupiter is pretty happy in the sign of Aquarius. But think about what Jupiter represents. Jupiter represents philosophy and being wise, being like the sage person, kind of like a professor. So he has this vibe about him that he feels very strong in his beliefs, and he feels very adamant and like he's qualified to give this information to people. And looking at that Jupiter Sun conjunction, I could see why. So when you think of the sign of Aquarius, you really want to think about doing things in a new way, seeing things in a different light. Remember that Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and also Saturn. So really this is seeing society in a different way, seeing social structures in a different way, kind of shaking things up. Remember that Uranus likes to shake things up. And I'm using today's chart as an example of how Uranus works in people and how you could spot Uranus in people. People with a lot of Uranus in their chart, or Uranus placed prominently in their chart, or people with Aquarius or Uranus, these people are going to see things in a different way. They're going to be a little bit wacky, and they're not necessarily going to be liked. And for some people, that's a positive thing. For me, that's a positive thing. I have Venus in the 11th house, and I have Uranus in the first house. So obviously, Aquarius is one of my favorite signs, and the Uranus principle is positive to me. But generally, to general society, Uranus is not a really positive thing because Uranus goes against Saturn. And even though Saturn like gets the bad rap of being like the bad grandpa, Saturn is society. Saturn is social structure. Saturn is the patriarchy. Everything that has built society to the point where we are today, that has progressed us to this point, all of that is Saturn. It's tradition, right? So Uranus goes against tradition. And you might be like, Denise, but Alex Jones likes Donald Trump. Like, how can he be Uranian? Well, the structures that are in power right now are established in a way. Think about how the media is very liberal, and how the internet is very, well, I shouldn't say the internet. Social media is very liberal, right? Because on the internet, you can go wherever you want. But on Facebook and Twitter, there is a lot of liberal standards that you have to kind of abide by if you want to be a part of it. So Alex Jones goes against that. And he is a lot on social media. So that's how, you know, whatever. So if you really think about the sign of Aquarius and how Aquarius works, they like to see things in a different way. So he has that Sun. So who he is that Aquarius that is being supported by Jupiter. But remember that Jupiter could be a little bit of a know-it-all, and they could be so wise and so full of knowledge that they kind of forget everybody else. And they're just like, I already know everything. I don't really have to learn anything more. And Aquarius is not in the same way, but sort of is. So Aquarius has kind of made up their mind because they've assessed everything already, and they're just like, I kind of know what's best because I've analyzed everything so much. They're so cerebral. They're really thinking through things. So he's coming from a very he's coming from a really cerebral and really cerebral and well thought out standpoint, right? He thinks it's very well thought out. But where is his Mercury at? His Mercury is in Pisces. So Mercury in Pisces is debilitated because Mercury is at home in Virgo. So whatever sign is opposite it is going to cause the planet to be weakened. So it's weakened in Pisces, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't really think it's a bad thing for him. Look how famous he is. Like he's doing just fine. So the way that he's coming through things, the way that he's coming at things mentally is from a really Piscean way. So he's thinking about really what is Pisces. Pisces is transcendentalism and bringing everybody together, and we are all one. So he really is coming from that sort of mindset. But let's look at where is Uranus for him. And this is the crux of the issue. His Uranus that is ruling that Aquarius is actually, and look at, oh, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Oh Lord, it's so perfectly beautiful. Oh, he has a beautiful grand trine. Look at Saturn. So you could say that Saturn rules Aquarius and Uranus rules Aquarius, and look where they're located. Saturn is at 28 degrees of Gemini, so the other air sign, and then you have Uranus at 27 degrees of Libra. And not only that, but that grand trine of those major air elements is connected to his sun and his moon. So he is very much in tune with society and wants to connect with society in a different way, because his moon in Libra wants to relate to others. The Libra moon really wants to relate to others and be pleasant. So they don't want to upset people. They want people to understand them. They want to understand others. Libra is very, I wouldn't use the word empathetic, but they're very, they mirror you. They want to know where you're coming from, and they want you to feel like you're on the same ground with them. They never want people to feel like, oh, I'm better than you or you're better than me. They want to be on equal footing with others. So they really try to understand them, and they try to see things from every perspective. Libra is that way. So it's just like, then why is he so unpleasant? Why does he say things that really offend other people? Well, his moon is conjunct Uranus. So he wants to relate to people in a totally new and different way. And that is a little bit difficult because the moon isn't very comfortable with Uranus, because Uranus is just like kapow, and the moon just wants to be comfortable, and the moon in Libra just wants to be comfortable and wants to relate, and Uranus is just like, well, you're not going to relate in a traditional sense. So that is just so representative of who he is. His moon and his sun, so his conscious self and his hidden inner self, are connected to Jupiter, the wise sage, and Uranus, the planet of revolution and just shaking things up and seeing things in a different light. And all of this is at the grand trine is ended with Saturn there in Gemini. So I mean, and his Mars, additionally his Mars is in Taurus, and it also trines his Venus. So his other masculine and feminine planets are actually in earth signs. And not only that, but Mars in Taurus is extremely strong. It is debilitated in Taurus, so it's not very comfortable there. But Taurus Mars is one of those planets in detriment that really ends up being very strong. You see this in the charts of a lot of boxers and a lot of martial artists, because think about it, Mars is fighting and Taurus is endurance. So these people have a lot of endurance. So Alex Jones really is in it for the long haul. Like, he is going to support his ideas and his platform like forever. He's not going to quit. And with that Venus in Capricorn, he is really relating to others in a very serious sense. So the way that he gets things, Mars, and the way that he relates to others are very supportive of each other. They're both an earth signs, so they're very supportive. And so we don't really know his rising sign, and usually I'm able to guess what somebody's rising sign is, but I don't really know this guy enough to do that. But if you have any idea of who he is and what his rising sign might be, please leave it in the comments. And that's the video for today, guys. I hope you liked it. I hope you know who this guy is. If you have any other ideas for people and what planets they represent, please leave them in the comments. I really like to discover people who really represent planets and who really depict them in a very obvious way, because it's really fun for me as an astrologer to use it kind of like as a teaching tool as I learn more, and I really like teaching other people astrology in really simple terms. And so if you can think of anybody else who represents another planet very well, please leave that in the comments. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe. I put out astrology videos every single week, and I'll see you in the next one.